playing around on the road bare for your bobo road, so can't come by in Jamaica, and I was still playing football free. And then I went to London, you know, things got hard for my parents. It took us to London, took me to London around 11. Realized I wasn't just a child, I was a black child. I wasn't just a black child, I was a black African child. And being a black African child, there's a certain perception for this category that we have as African. You know, when you're in the UK or US, you're filling out forms for a job, you're applying for university, college, you have to tick the box of where you're from, whether it's African, whether it's Caribbean, black African, whether it's white British, white American, whether it's Asian. You have to tick this box, and every box has its own perception. Growing up in London, the perception of that box Africa was so negative that I wanted to distance myself from, because people didn't respect it. Obviously I was a child, I'm like 12, 13, growing up in London, and I'm trying to fit in school. So I ended up having to distance myself because that was the only way for me to survive. You know, and a lot of Africans did that. A lot of people who were just like me distanced themselves from me. And people that I knew were Ghanaian were even pretending to be Jamaican, because at the time being black Caribbean was so cool due to the fact that dancehall was popping. You know, we had, of course, Bob Marley, you know, we had Sean Paul. You know, it was cool to be Jamaican, so some of us were pretending to be Jamaican, which is very sad, because there's nothing better than being able to be yourself. Yeah. You know, there's nothing better than being able to just take pride in your culture. Yeah. You know, and to me, that's what flies around their mouths and their noses, and they're saying there's war in Africa. You know, it was so much negativity around the narrative of Africa, but it wasn't until I came back, I got to become my own media with my own eyes, through my own TV. I was able to see the actual reality of what Africa was, and it was far from what the media had been showing back in London. And the talent and the entrepreneurs, the music, the food, the women, the beautiful, hey. Hey, there's also handsome men as well. What do you say to that one as well? Yeah, there's kings, there's queens. I was seeing so much beauty that I thought tricked by the media back in London. And one of the blessings that I actually got from my experience of being back in Ghana was I was seeing people doing the strange dance. And I was asking people, what's this dance? Everybody keep doing this crazy move, and they said to me, it's Azonto. So I said to them, oh, right, okay, I like this dance. Like, teach me how to do it. So I decided to make a song about it, and, you know, shot the video to it. All of a sudden, millions of views, selling millions of records just from coming back home. That trip back home changed my life. So to me, this Christmas is going to be a life-changing trip for a lot of people. This year of return is going to be a life-changing trip. That's why I'm saying we are all witnessing a revolution of love, a revolution of self-love, a revolution of the mind. So what are we doing here in Ghana to make sure that when they come, they're experiencing the real Africa that they need to see, that they're experiencing the sense of pride. Like, we need to, whatever we do here, it needs to encourage pride and not shame. You know, and that's why we're here today. That's why we're doing what we're doing today. That's why we're building the schools that we're building. That's why we're doing Tina Festival. That's why we're doing the conference. And that's why we're all sitting here today. And I really want to get this message across so everybody can kind of go with that mentality. It's almost like it's that time. It's time for us to fight for our people to love themselves again. Because once you love something, you fight for it, you protect it. If there's flooding in Makola, they need to learn from our swag. They need to know that this is a message from our ancestors. It's not just an outfit that we're wearing. It's to remind yourself of who you are. Every time I dress like this in America, it starts different conversations. They want to know about where I'm from. So everything that we do when people are here, we need to utilize it to teach everybody that's coming back home who they are, who they're supposed to be, not who they're pretending to be. You know, so I urge everybody to help us tell this narrative, help push the right message of us, you know, pushing a sense of pride for what we're doing. So for like the school as well, you know, the idea of the school is we want to educate these kids the right way, because I feel like our history was taught in such a negative way, especially for me, again, being in school in London. I thought we started as slaves. You know, and they're like, they took the slaves and they took them to the Americas and the Caribbean, but really they came to take talented people, they came to take doctors, they came to take kings, they came to take queens, they came to take musicians, you know, but they like to dehumanize us. So it's easier when they're telling a story so we can disassociate ourselves from it. You know, so the school that we have in Akosombo, that's how we try to, you know, do extracurricular activities where we let them know their history. That's from a royalty perspective. You know, so all these narratives, if you have any supplies or whatever, if you want to volunteer, it's the best day to come on the 1st. And on the 2nd is the New African Nation Conference. My manager's going to talk more about it. But yeah, it's about, again, all of us coming together and having conversations about how we can build a continent. As I was sitting at the bar with, you know, Mr. Ababio and a couple other people, we were just discussing about, you know, and there's funny enough, so a lot of Jamaicans here this year. You know, there's a lot of Jamaicans here this year, and this conversation needs to happen. Why is it that it takes, you know, we were just having this conversation just now at the bar. Why is it that we can't travel directly from Ghana to Jamaica and from Jamaica to Ghana? Why is it we have to go through the US to get to Ghana? Why is it we have to go through the UK? When you get to the airport, they ask you for a UK visa. But there's no, there's a treaty between, there's an agreement between Ghana and Jamaica. You don't need, there's a no visa agreement. So why is it that you're asking me for a UK visa when I'm trying to go to Jamaica? So all these conversations need to be had. We need our own airlines. You know, but all of this can only happen if we get together like this. Like, we're just sitting at the bar, and these are the kind of conversations that was happening. So it's a very special moment that we have in this year of return, so we need to really utilize it properly. So on the 3rd day, Tina Festival, of course, it's going to be Kente Party. We're here to have a great time. We're here to enjoy ourselves. We have world-class performances and everything. We're here to have a great time. But the difference is it's a festival with a purpose. Of course, there's so many activities happening this year, but Tina Festival is a festival with a purpose just because of the thinkers behind it, just because of the kind of infrastructure that we have behind it. You know, I love every other events that's happening as well. Of course, it's very important. But to me, Tina Festival is close to my heart because it's like the physical ground of, you know, of a place where we can have a great time, but at the same time we can reason and see how we can build for the motherland. So again, thank you guys so much for coming. I'm very excited about what's about to happen in the next couple of weeks, you know, with Tina Festival. So yeah, appreciate everybody's presence. Help us tell the story, help us instill self-love, pride, and not shaming our people. And yeah, let's do this, man. Thank you guys for coming. So. Yeah.